Professor Zektai adjusted his crystalline spectacles as he reviewed the final academic paper that would seal humanity's fate. The Galactic Council's most prestigious war college had spent 3 standard cycles analyzing human military doctrine, and their conclusion was unanimous. Humans were tactically primitive, strategically incoherent, and utterly predictable. Their approach to warfare is almost comically simplistic, Zektai dictated to his neural recorder. They favor brute force over finesse, emotion over logic, and individual heroics over coordinated strategy. The species shows promise in small-scale conflicts but lacks the sophisticated military philosophy necessary for galactic-level warfare. The paper, titled An Analysis of Human Military Incompetence: Why Earth's Forces Pose No Credible Threat, would be distributed to every military academy across the galaxy within days. It was, Zektai believed, his masterwork, a comprehensive demolition of human strategic thinking that would finally put to rest any concerns about Earth's growing influence. What Professor Zektai didn't know was that Commander Sarah Chen had been reading drafts of his paper for months. The Terran Intelligence Service had long ago cracked Galactic Council encryption protocols, but Chen's team had done something far more elegant. They'd simply asked. Dr. Marcus Webb, a human anthropologist, had enrolled in Zektai's advanced military theory course under the guise of cultural exchange. For 2 years he'd submitted papers, participated in discussions, and even helped Zektai refine his arguments about human tactical deficiencies. It's almost too easy, Webb had reported during his final briefing. They're so convinced of their intellectual superiority that they've created a perfect blind spot. They see our emotions as weakness, our adaptability as chaos, and our unpredictability as incompetence. Chen smiled as she reviewed the intelligence report. The hegemony, a coalition of the galaxy's most militaristically advanced species, was preparing to invade human space based largely on Zektai's assessment. They expected a short, decisive campaign against a species too primitive to mount effective resistance. They were about to learn why human military academies taught courses on something the galactic powers had never encountered: asymmetric warfare. The hegemony's fleet arrived at the edge of human space exactly as predicted, their formation perfect, their strategy flawless according to conventional galactic military doctrine. Admiral Krextos, commanding from the flagship Inevitable Victory, opened communications with Earth's representatives. "Humans," his translated voice boomed across subspace frequencies, "you will surrender your territories and submit to hegemony. Authority. Your primitive military cannot hope to match our coordinated fleet actions and superior strategic thinking." Commander Chen appeared on the view screen, seated casually in what appeared to be a modest command center. "Admiral Krextos, we've been expecting you. Before we discuss surrender, might I interest you in a small demonstration?" Krextos's mandibles clicked in amusement. Even now, the humans were trying some desperate bluff. "Proceed with your demonstration, human. Make it brief." Chen nodded to someone off-screen. Throughout the hegemony fleet, every single ship's computer core began displaying the same message. "Hello, Admiral. We've been aboard your ships for 6 months now. With love, Terran Intelligence." The demonstration began small. The flagship's food synthesizers started producing nothing but peanut butter sandwiches. The gravity generators in the officers' quarters began randomly fluctuating between 0.5 and 2.0 standard gravities. The ship's communication system began broadcasting what appeared to be human music, specifically a song called "Never Gonna Give You Up" by someone named Rick Astley. "This is impossible," Krextos snarled. "Our systems are unhackable. Our security protocols were designed by people who think like you," Chen interrupted gently. Professor Zektai's paper was quite illuminating on that subject. Did you know he spent an entire chapter explaining how humans are incapable of long-term strategic thinking? It made it much easier to plan our 3-year infiltration operation. Across the fleet, the subtle sabotage escalated. Navigation systems began showing sensor ghosts that perfectly mimicked incoming human warships, thousands of them, approaching from impossible angles. Life support systems developed mysterious glitches that filled corridors with the scent of human foods, coffee, bacon, and something called durian that sent most of the crew fleeing to emergency shelters. But the masterstroke came when the ship's databases began updating themselves. Every military manual, every tactical assessment, every strategic doctrine began rewriting itself with human military philosophy. Officers opened their tactical guides to find chapters on guerrilla warfare, psyops, and something terrifyingly alien called the Hearts and Minds Doctrine. You see, Admiral, Chen continued as chaos erupted throughout the hegemony fleet. Professor Zekthai made one critical error in his analysis. He assumed that because we don't think like you, we don't think strategically. But human strategy has always been about adaptation, misdirection, and using our opponent's assumptions against them. The coup de grace came when Admiral Krextos realized his own flagship was broadcasting detailed schematics of hegemony military technology to every human settlement in the sector, not as an act of sabotage, as an act of charity. The broadcast included a cheerful message, compliments of the Terran Educational Exchange Program, because knowledge should be free. We've been inside your network since before you decided to invade, Chen explained. We've cataloged your weapons, studied your tactics, and analyzed your strategic doctrine. We know exactly how you think, which means we know exactly how to make you stop thinking clearly. By the time Admiral Krextos managed to regain control of his communication systems, half his fleet was requesting immediate medical assistance for crew members suffering from what their doctors could only describe as acute existential confusion. The other half was busy trying to purge their computers of what appeared to be several petabytes of human cultural content, including the complete works of someone called Shakespeare and approximately 40,000 hours of something labeled cat videos. What do you want? Krextos finally asked. Chen's expression grew serious. What we've always wanted, Admiral, to be left alone to develop in peace. We're not interested in conquest or domination. We just want to explore the galaxy and make friends. But we're very, very good at discouraging people who mistake our peaceful intentions for weakness. Professor Zekthai received word of the hegemony's strategic withdrawal while reviewing student papers. The official report claimed the invasion had been canceled due to unforeseen complications in the operational environment. Privately, Admiral Krextos had sent a single encrypted message to the Galactic Council. Do not engage humans in warfare. They do not fight like us. They do not think like us. They win without winning and lose without losing. Recommend immediate diplomatic recognition and cultural exchange programs. 3 days later, Dr. Marcus Webb submitted his final paper for Professor Zekthai's class. The title was Why Galactic Military Doctrine Fails Against Asymmetric Opponents, a Case Study. In Human Strategic Innovation, it earned the highest grade in the class and was immediately classified by Galactic Council security forces. Professor Zekthai never published another paper on human military capabilities. Instead, he quietly applied for a transfer to the Cultural Studies Department, where he spent the rest of his career trying to understand how a species could be simultaneously peaceful and terrifying, predictably unpredictable, and strategically chaotic. The humans, for their part, returned to their exploration and research, secure in the knowledge that sometimes the best way to win a war is to convince your enemies that fighting one would be far more trouble than it's worth.